But at the end of the day, not as busy as as I should be.
How was that bachelor weekend?
It was. I'll tell you the truth. It was really nice. You could tell I'm getting old because you know what I did all weekend, or what I should say, what I didn't do all. I literally for the entire weekend never left my living room.
Never left your living room.
I never left the living room.
Yeah, that's a sign of getting old. That's
Right?
funny.
That's a sign of getting old. But I never. And anytime I wanted food, or wanted to eat, or wanted anything, I just told Nick. I just told my son, who was either on his way to work or on his way home. On your way home, stop and get whatever. I didn't even care what the whatever was. You know? And that literally was my Friday and Saturday, and Lisa came home Sunday, pretty early. Um, and we just hung out for the rest of Sunday, and it was really nice. So my bachelor weekend was literally me in like a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and just like never left my living room. The only time I left my living room was to go to my bedroom to go to sleep. That was it. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I can't wait for next year to do it again. How are you doing?
I had that golf outing Friday, but boy, it's just been. I cannot believe the amount of quotes coming across for construction, and there's just nothing there, and people are just talking about how fast some of the, well, what steel pricing's done.
Yeah, it's going crazy.
250% increase in galvanized steel since last October.
Yeah. Lou, in the last 2 weeks, I've been busier than I can remember being in almost a year.
Yeah, same here. It's been going. And Then I hear whining today. Oh, inflation's 5%. I'm like, what the hell are they looking at? I said, have they noticed the price of food and cars the last 20 years? The price of construction materials this year alone has been 50%.
Yeah.
And Biden's causing 5%. I mean, what the hell they're not in the real world.
No.
It has nothing to do with him. A lot of it has to do with what happened during that pandemic and private companies not, you know, really they had no basic good planning and they used piss poor information that caused a lot of this.
Well, they used biased information, right?
Yeah,
And
that's pretty much what they did.
because they let their biases and their outlook on life dictate where they went for information, right? Information numbers are unbiased. Lou, you and I have always said this. Math doesn't give a shit what your political view is. It doesn't give a shit what your race is. It doesn't care what your gender is. Math doesn't care. At the end of the day, 2 and 2 is 4. It doesn't give a shit if you like it or not. It is what it is.
Yeah, and
That's it.
we got people out there telling us 2 and 2 is 5.
You're seeing an upswing in inflation and prices increasing now, and why is it happening? It's pretty simple. There's a demand now. There wasn't a demand 6 months ago, 8, 10, 12 months ago. There was no demand because we were all home.
Yeah, that's why gasoline's up. Oh, it was only $1.50 when Trump was there last year. Yeah, because the whole country was shut down because of his stupidity.
Because you weren't leaving your fucking house. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to figure out.
Well, apparently it is. But like you said, their people are in an alternate reality.
Yeah, they are. They're in the Fox Entertainment reality.
Oh man.
I just got a text from Master Grant. He's going to be on in a minute or two.
Okay.
So that's good to see. He's like, just give me 2 minutes. I'm like, dude, we already started. Just jump in whenever you're ready.
Jump in.
The part that I both like and dislike, okay, and I'll tell you why I like it and dislike both of them. I like the fact that we're seeing a lot of manufactured anger, right? We're seeing a lot of manufactured anger with both Biden and Harris. We're seeing a lot of and we're going to get into the Joe Manchin bullshit here later once Master Grant gets on. But whenever you have to convince me that you're pissed off about something, instead of legitimately being pissed off about something, that means whoever you're pissed off about is actually doing a good job and they're actually doing it right. Okay, we didn't have a manufactured anger at Trump. All right, because the guy couldn't count his balls to get the same number twice. You're seeing a manufactured anger over Biden, and whenever that manufactured anger is called out, and I'll be honest, what's her name? The press secretary is doing a hell of a good job at that. That manufactured anger seems to drop. It seems to just to be shown for what it really is, which is just a talking point, which is something that we just have to say because we have nothing else. And the last thing we want to do is actually give you credit for anything.
Yeah, she does do a good job because boy, she cuts back on the opinion questions real fast.
Yeah, she does. And I love the fact that she's so willing to engage that asshole from Fox Entertainment.
Douchey.
Every day.
Douche.
Yeah. Yeah. And she does it with a smile, and she's very inviting and very warm because
willing to.
It's almost like she knows she has his number. You know? And she's just like, okay, come on, give it to me. Here we go. And they made a big point about Harris's trip and how she's not stopping at the border. And how many times did and I'm sorry, I can't remember the press secretary's name again.
Which one? Kaylee or
no, ours? I mean the current one.
Oh, Jen Psaki.
Psaki, yeah. Who kept saying how many times over and over and over again, look, her job's not to go to the border. Her job is to go beyond the border. Right? Going to the border doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, I would have, you know what I would have said? I would have said, you know what? Would it make you happier if she put on a life vest and got in a gunboat on the river like your buddies did, Cruz and Abbott and them clowns? I was real impressed with that.
Yeah. It almost makes you feel like you're seeing two worlds, right? You're seeing the soundbite world, which is very quick and very short, which is the Fox Entertainments, and you're seeing the long game, the game where they're talking about things that people actually care about, and you're seeing these two worlds collide. And Lou, I got to be honest, the Fox Entertainment crowd is losing quite a bit.
Well, it doesn't break my heart. How about yours, Master Grant?
Hi guys, I'm sorry. I was we got a new project. We're trying to coordinate the orbit of the moon and making some adjustments to it so that we can cure climate change. So
I almost want to believe you.
I don't know if you guys saw that Republican somebody just change the orbit of the moon.
That's it. That's all we got to do, huh?
You know what? I thought That's Gomert, who's a dumbass anyhow. And I'm like, is he making sure he's jockeying for the bottom since Green and Bobert have been beating him out on stupidity or what?
Well, they are younger than him and obviously more enthusiastic.
My God. Jeez. You know what? Let me put a big peg in the ground here and tie the truck to it. Maybe we can make it move a centimeter. My God. Wonder how Fox News spun that. I'm sure that wasn't on.
Master Grant, it goes back to what Lou and I were saying earlier. It seems like everybody in the Fox Entertainment world are so bought into this little 30-second piece. This talking piece that's 30 seconds long, or sometimes less than that, where they're not really paying attention to what's going on. They just want that sound bite, that sound clip, and as long as they get that, they're happy. No substance, just a 30-second. It's kind of like I'm going to burn the steak on one side, so it's shoe leather, and that's the only part I'm going to eat, and the rest of it can just go away. And I got to be honest. I thought that was a great analogy.
Yeah, we can't forget that they are an entertainment network. Entertainment, they're not news, and so it's just like going to the Onion. They're just not the Onion satire. Fox News is opinions, and so. Yeah, so, but unfortunately, people think that what they say is gospel, and that's where the problems, of course, come. And so, but Fox News being entertainment, they're just looking for those sound bites that are going to get them viewers.
Mm-hmm. And that's all they care about.
They need to play some of those sound bites of the insurrectionists pleading guilty and saying, "I really believe Fox News. I can't believe how they lied to me."
Have any of you been paying attention to I forgot what the Ion Ohio, I think it's called, and what some of these assholes are saying in like their town hall meetings? I'm not talking about the people who are in government, but the people who are questioning them, the people in the crowd. Have you been paying attention to these guys?
No.
Oh my God. You should see some of the shit that they're coming up with. And I'm looking for it now, right? I'm looking for it.
I've seen some strange stuff out there, but it's been hit and miss here the last week. I've been busy with everything, so.
I mean, you had some knucklehead who decided that this vaccination that we're getting is making you magnetic.
Oh, I did see that idiot. And she's a doctor, supposedly.
Well, no, she's a nurse.
Nurse. Did you see her trying to stick shit on her neck and it kept falling?
Yeah, I was trying to find it for so we could show it, and Master Grant, you should see this shit.
Yeah.
Honest to God, you should see it. It's ridiculous.
Some guy had posted something like that, and I said, I walked through our shop yesterday with steel everywhere, and nothing flew off and stuck to my ass. So I'm really disappointed.
Right? You almost want to, don't you? You almost hope it happened.
Yeah, I wanted to see a hinge or something come flying and zap me,
Yeah, so you do like your best like Magneto thing, right? And just be able to like stop it and grab a hold of it and be like, dude, I'm a god. And she's putting this shit all over herself, right? Master Grant, she's putting this shit all over, and it just keeps falling off. Right, this piece of steel or whatever the fuck it is. She's putting it on her cheek. She's putting it on like on her shoulder. She's putting, and it just keeps falling. And she's like, "Yeah, you see," and everybody's looking at her like, "The hell is wrong with you?" Oh, dude, it's hysterical to see. It really is. But these assholes buy it. I mean, they buy into it so much that they're willing to make themselves look like total fucking morons.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the part that bothers me. It isn't the fact that they're making assholes of themselves. It's the fact that they're so eager and willing to do it. That's a problem. And that's a problem I don't think people are actually facing. All right? I've made an ass of myself a number of times, but I never did it willingly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know, and these folks are doing it willingly. You know what it reminds me of, honest to God, and this is very dramatic. I understand that. Both of you have seen The Omen, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the woman that was standing on the roof who decided to jump off the roof because she was going to do it for Damien? Right? And she ended up hanging herself?
Yeah.
That's what these assholes remind me of. They're so willing to do this for this cause that is just is created out of bullshit that there's no hope for them. There's just no hope for these folks to come back and say, you know what? I was duped. I was misled. They're going to throw themselves on their swords in order to do it. They're going to jump in front of the bus to do it.
There, I just sent it on Discord.
Oh, you did find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, you did. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah, yep, that's her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did see that. I was like, you know, and you look at that and you think, did The Onion do this? Is this did you see the last one? Did catch one today with Boebert. She did something at the border that, honest to God, it looked like a parody. It was so damn stupid.
Yeah, let me see if I can share this with everybody because this is ridiculous. Master Grant, I don't know if you saw this or not because like you actually have a real job, right? Okay, here we go. So this is it. I'm gonna expand it here. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, vaccines do harm people. By the way, so I just found out something when I was on lunch, and I wanted to show it to you. You were talking.
She found it out while she was on lunch.
And his testimony about magnetic vaccine crystals. So this is what I found out. So I have a key and a bobby pin here. Explain to me why the key sticks to me.
Look at the lady behind her.
It sticks to my neck too.
Look at them eyes.
Yeah, so if somebody could explain this, that would be great. Any questions?
Oh, we got lots of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. Did you not take your drugs today?
But I mean, she even it wasn't working when she was at the podium, and then she still was so bought into this that she's like, "Any questions? Do you see that? Any questions?" And nobody stood up. Well, they might have, but no one stood up and said, "How the fuck are you even qualified to drive here?"
Yeah, really.
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
how did
seriously.
you even pass that test?
Yeah, seriously, all you got to do is lick a key. There, I got a penny on my head. I'm copper. I'm attracted to copper.
Because you know how magnetic copper is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like trying to stick a magnet on aluminum.
And she pulled this thing, whatever the hell that thing is, and she's putting it all over herself, and it just keeps dropping. And she's like, "Any questions?"
And this is because she got the vaccine.
Apparently, that's why. I mean, we're
She's
assuming
magnetized now
she's magnetized now.
because of the vaccine.
Right. Right. And I'm telling you, dude, I would be doing the most Magneto shit there ever was in my life if that's what happened. Right? The most Magneto shit ever. I'd be throwing people against walls. You know?
Yeah, it's just amazing to people. It just amazes me. Lack of critical thinking skills. You that gullible? I mean, how'd you get this far in life?
You know what? I've always said, you know, considering all the jobs that I've had in the positions of, you know, whether it was working security or bouncing or whatever, I've always said, people want to be told what to do. They want to be told what to do and how to think and how to act. I've always said that. If you're ever worried about putting in a policy, and I had this argument down in my second job whenever they were like, well, we're kind of mandating the masks, but we're not really doing it. You know, this is going back a couple of months. And I'm like, don't you get it? People want to be told what to do. If they didn't want to be told what to do, Fox Entertainment would be out of business. They want to be told. I had a grandfather, and back in the 1950s, when he came over here from Italy, looked at my father and said, why do Americans want to be taken by the hand and told what to do? This was in the 1950s. He came from fucking Mussolini's Italy. And he questioned why we want to be taken by the hand and told what to do.
Yeah, which is why we're in a position we're in today.
Right? It's not a matter, and Master Grant, here's the argument I'll make. It's not as much being told what to do as much as it is somebody is willing to reinforce my view. So I'm willing to follow them because they're willing to reinforce what I think and what I say on how I feel.
Yeah.
So I'll follow you off the cliff because you're telling me I'm right.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you know, and you just sit here and think, Patsy, how many, I don't care what you've done, whether it's, you know, you're teaching when you've taught or go to tournaments. I think back to baseball or just doing anything. It's like you start doing things and all of a sudden it's like everybody's standing around with a thumb up your ass. And I get so nervous. I'm like, okay, why don't you do this? I'll take him do this. You go do this. And then all of a sudden it's like, how'd you get in charge? Because nobody was doing anything.
Nobody was working. No one else was doing it.
You know,
I didn't want to be. Look, I don't like being in charge.
It's like, you know, I wasn't going to stand around for an hour. Not that I don't like you guys, but, you know, I don't want to be with you all night.
I got shit I got to do.
Yeah, it's like.
No, I do this, Lou. I do the same shit. Right? I do the same shit. It's like, look, I don't want to be in this position. I don't like being in this position. I want to come here, be as what do you call it? As insignificant as possible, and then at the end of the day, I want to go home. Right? That's all I want. I'm not somebody who likes that limelight, who likes the spotlight, who likes saying, "Oh, you know," I don't like people saying, "Oh, Patsy said this." Right? No, I just want to be. I want to be invisible. Go do my job and go home. But God damn it, if you're not willing to step up and do and do what's right, that means I have to. Right?
Yeah, you know, I used to help with the church. I did that golf outing we had for. I took over. Nobody wanted to take it over. I took it over from somebody whose wife had terminal cancer.
Yeah.
Of course, I ended up with it for about 8 years in a row. And bottom line was, I was amazed at the people that would call me at night and ask me a question so stupid about what to do. I'm thinking, why didn't you just do it? I'm not really, you're a volunteer too. If you think it's right, why didn't you do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, hey, I'm here at the grocery store. Should I pick this up? Well, yeah, if you're there, we'll reimburse you. No use me going.
Right.
You know, shit like that. It just amazed me.
It was frightening. Master Grant, how many times have you and I gone someplace or been on the floor where people were looking around like, what do we do next? And it was up to you or me. And like, okay, we're just going to do this and whatever happens, happens. But we're doing something, damn it. Right? How many times, right? How often? A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're just, let's face it, we're bullshitting our way through it, right? But at least we're going forward. So, well, we're just going to do this and jump in whenever you're ready. Because we can't just sit still and do nothing. We can't just sit here and say, okay, now what? Right? There has to be a direction. There has to be a focus. I do that now. Far more than I'd like. Far more than I'd like. You know, I'll tell you a story. And this happened last week, at the end of the week, but it was last week, where we had a situation, and somebody came to me and he was like, "This is fucked up, and this is fucked up, and this is fucked up, and the person who fucked all of these up isn't here. What do we do?" I didn't have an answer, right? It's like it's not my forte to be the problem solver, right? I'm 53 years old. I want to cruise under the radar. You know, I want to collect the paycheck and go to fuck home. And I'm like, well, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. You're going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And we're going to pray to God that nobody asks any questions. And luckily it worked out, right? Or I was in trouble. The person who came to me was in trouble. And the person who fucked up to begin with was really in trouble. But you just manage your way through it. I don't get why it's so hard for so many of these people who are these Fox Entertainment watchers to just say, look, no, I'm just going to do this. I don't want to be told what to do. I want your opinion. I want to hear opinions. I want to hear opinions that support me, and I want to hear opinions that contradict me. Because then we have a truth. At some point, we're going to have a truth, and we can all just run and do which is the best way possible. But whenever all I hear is people telling me that what I'm saying and what I'm doing is the correct way to do it. And between the three of us, when this situation happened, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I took a guess. But if any of them would have said, no, I think we should do this, then we were going to have a dialogue. And no one was willing to do it. I mean, luckily it worked out, but you can't be a whole bunch of followers. At some point, you got to sit there and say, no, look, this isn't right. We gotta do this. And my fear is you don't have too many quote unquote leaders, and I put that in quotes because I don't think there actually are any leaders in the Republican Party who are willing to say, no, look, where we're going, what we're doing is in the wrong direction. We got to stay true to our principles, right? And Cheney did that. Liz Cheney did that, and she's a piece of shit. So I'm not putting her on a pedestal, but she was kneecapped by her own side because she was willing to say, no, look, this isn't right. What's left for this party now? What's left for that party?
Did you see where she stated that pretty much in so many words, if they had any balls, the Republican Party, Trump would have been impeached the way they really felt in the Senate?
Yeah. And let's think about it, Master Grant. If any of them had any balls at all, they'd have been past this by now. The first time, they'd have been past this. They jerry-rigged everything so they can't fucking lose. They'd have been past this shit, and they actually would have gone on their way. That's not leadership.
Well, they're fighting for control. They're fighting for minority control. Everything that the Republican Party does from here on out is about controlling what they have to win without getting all the popular votes. How many? Joe Biden had what? 7 million more votes, popular votes than Trump.
Yes.
7 million.
7 million.
Now, electoral college wise, they were neck and neck.
For the longest time, yeah.
And had a couple those states get changed, Trump could very well be the leader. So this is what the Republican Party has to do. They know that they can't win by numbers.
Right.
And so they are coercing the system to make it so that they can win with the minority.
Right.
So that the people up in Minnesota and North Dakota and whatever votes are 50%, 75% more valuable than a person in California, for example.
So we're back to the 3/5 of a man then, aren't we?
So the Republican Party right now are screaming to everyone, toe the line, this is life or death. You don't do this, your party's gone. And so I don't think they care. I don't think they give a rat's ass about anything right now except survival.
I think Lou, I think he makes a good point.
Yeah, and you're right. You know what? You think about the democratically controlled states or the blue states, we are 3/5.
Yeah.
You realize Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh, is bigger than 6 red states or something like that?
Just that one county.
One county, and that's not even a huge county.
No.
But their votes, because of the way the electoral college system is, are worth more. So a person living in those more rural states, their votes count more.
What was the number I saw last week when they voted down January 6th commission? 35 senators, basically the way the numbers fell out, represented 82 million less Americans than the 54 that voted for the commission.
Yep.
Think about that number.
So here's my question, because these assholes are all about fairness, right? How is that fair? How is that fair?
It's fair to them, and that's what they mean.
How? Right? It's not. You know where their fairness is because the people that they represent, that 82 million less, all look like us. That's why. Because they all look like us. So they can justify it.
Let's face it, in some of those states, Patsy, you might be a little too dark.
Yeah, I might. Yeah.
Just to go ahead.
Dude, I still am here. And you live how many miles away from me? I still am here. Right?
You're right. You still are here. You got a vowel for your last name.
Right, my last name ends in a vowel. There's no fucking way I should. The fact that I co-chair things, come on. I promise you that's rubbing people. I promise you that's rubbing people the wrong way in my own goddamn neighborhood. I promise you it is. In fact, I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact it is. Right? It is. We had. I wish to God I was making this up. I wish to God it was. We had a principal of our high school who, at a school board meeting, a citizen said, and this is, I'm going to paraphrase, but I think it's a direct quote. I just can't prove it, so I'm going to paraphrase it. Who said, "There is no way in hell I'm going to let a towel head decide what my child can wear to school." How about that? Okay.
And the sad thing is,
How about that?
you know, we actually have a large, Syrian Lebanese population in this little town in comparison. But
Second only to Italians.
This is Mayberry out here.
But it's out here. It's Mayberry, right?
You know what? What the biggest obstacles to consolidating the original Mohawk school district was?
Bessemer or Hillsville. Which one?
Both. Hillsville and Bessemer.
Yeah.
They were like their own little enclaves. They had their own high school, and they had their own grade school.
They wanted them to go to Union, didn't they?
I believe so. Union made the mistake of not picking them up. They should have at least picked up Hillsville in this way.
They should have taken those. Master Grant, can you imagine what the difference between literally everybody else around here and Hillsville and Bessemer have? You know what the difference is? I'll give you a hint. Hillsville and Bessemer all look like me.
Oh, that's the way it was in Pittsburgh. A lot of
Well, Bessemer was more like my hunky end.
Well, that's
Hillsville-
true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Hillsville wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's with the immigrants coming in. That's what they did. They stayed in enclaves. Irish in one, Italians in another, Polish in another. So, yeah, it makes sense. And they're like you go up and down the river, Monaca, Ambridge, Beaver. I mean, those towns all started with a group, and then as time went on, the areas grew and merged, and
And if you follow those little communities back far enough, right, you can see which immigrants settled where, right? The problem that you had is, let's imagine you have that same scenario, and we're going to combine them all with a whole bunch of other immigrants who just been here longer and feel like they're entitled. Which is basically what you have out here in Mayberry. Lou, am I wrong?
Yeah, that's it. They forget that, I'm 2 generations in, basically, from Europe. They forget that the people that are like in my group and clan, so to speak, where I grew up, they forget that back in the teens, 20s, and 30s, we were Catholic, Polish, Italian, and the same conservatives then that their kids are now were downgrading us.
Right.
My God, wasn't there a law in Newcastle that said if you were Italian, you couldn't live on a North Hill?
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah. Yeah, long time.
Yeah, 100 years ago, they would have thrown Frank's ass off at the hill up there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Frank stayed on North Hill. I went from the North Hill to out in Mayberry. I went from the pot into the fire. Yeah, neither of us would have been welcome there. Neither of us would have been. So I went from that to out here. And I've told my wife on several occasions, I find it hard to believe that I've gone this far without a cross burning in my front yard. I've told her that a bunch of times.
Yeah, don't forget the KKK when they ran out, well, especially around here, not so much in the South. The KKK in this region was against Catholics.
Yeah. So all three of us were fucked. Yeah. Oh, God. Catholics will steal the quarters off a dead man's eyes, was said to my wife in my own kitchen, right behind me. Was said to her in my own kitchen. How about that one? Master Grant, I'm going to have to fill you in on a lot of shit.
yeah.
It's not ancient history. It's not old at all.
No, it's not.
It's very, very young. And if it's very young, it's very vibrant. And it still holds a lot of sway. It's the truth. It's terrible. It's terrible. So imagine your skin tone being 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 shades darker. Imagine what you have to go through then. How bad can it be? Just how bad can it be? Right? It's going to be terrible. Anyhow.
Here's Rocco. And Oscar.
It's my dog's. He had to see a cat. Well, he had to think he saw a cat because the asshole's got cataracts, so he's half blind to begin with. Right? I think it's not even a real bark. It's just enough to make noise.
Well, do you guys know how you tell the difference between who's a Catholic and who's a Baptist in a liquor store?
No clue.
The Catholics will say hi to each other.
Wow, is that true?
when I was selling liquor, and Grove City, which is up, Dystopiaville, as Diane says, that store up there was Grove City was dry at that time. There was people that used to call the manager there to meet them at the back door, and they told her exactly what they wanted, and they would have exact change because they didn't want to see people come. They didn't want people to see them coming into the front door.
So they meet him in the back door.
Yeah, exact change. That's a heavy Baptist Presbyterian area.
Right, and you know why? That's so they can go to church on Sunday. What was it?
Yeah,
That was the only reason.
And you know what? I knew she wasn't kidding me because I was there on a number of occasions when the back doorbell rang. She says, "I'll be right back." She'd grab a bag off the counter. She's one of my customers, and that's how I found out. They don't use the front door. Oh, not up here.
Nope. Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And you know what? I'm not so sure it changed a whole lot. Especially out here, Lou. I'm not so sure it changed a whole lot. I think we've been accepted on the surface, but not like where it matters.
Yeah, you know what? When I think about it, going to church out here, everybody that went to the church that I always helped in all had vowels and consonants in their names. At the end, like the Z's and the things like that, and the I's, A's.
Yeah, I don't think it changed a whole lot. It just did on the surface, not really like where it counts. I honestly don't think it did. Do a little bit of a world news. Biden met with Boris Johnson today. They signed a charter, an Atlantic Charter, to quote unquote rekindle that special relationship, right? Very reminiscent of FDR and Churchill back in the day. Of course, they were doing it with masks on. The two leaders pledged to, quote, work closely with all partners who share our democratic values and to counter the efforts of those who seek to undermine our alliance and institutions. They signed a document that said we must ensure that our democracies, starting with our own, neither of us really have democracies, but that's okay.
I was just going to say, what are they talking about? We don't have a democracy here.
You know what? Let's just go along with it. Right? Let's just go along with it for a second. We must ensure that our democracies, starting with our own, can deliver on solving the critical challenges of our time, the document says. By highlighting the similarities such as quote-unquote democracies, the two are trying to create a clear contrast with Russia and China. This is coming from NPR. So they're playing fast and loose with the definition. There's not a true democracy on the face of the planet, right? There really isn't. We have a representative democracy. They have, Master, I don't even know how to describe what they have. Parliamentary democracy.
Maybe that's what it's called, yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm guessing, but okay, it's pretty close, right? I mean, for the three of us, it's close enough. What do you guys think? Do you think this is the start of something, or do you think it's just posturing because, well, there's a new American in town, so we're just gonna hang out with him for a little bit too?
It's about all it is. I mean, I don't think anybody really liked Trump over there.
Well, it was obvious. No one liked Trump across the Atlantic at all.
I think they're breathing a sigh of relief that Biden's there across the Atlantic.
Do you think they're breathing a sigh of relief because he's more in tune with their values, or because he's just not going to wake up one day and go fuck it and hit the button and launch the nuclear weapons?
Both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Master Grant, what do you think? You spent time overseas. Do you think that there's anything binding there? I mean, as far as like, I mean like legally, but I mean as far as like culturally or let me be stupid and say spiritually, as opposed to what Boris had with Trump, because they both kind of rose the same way.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that there's anything really, but I could see it as maybe starting to set the table for a Anglo-U.S. Partnership, especially in the light of Chinese and Russian dominance in the world markets. So I definitely could see that maybe starting to form. Now that England's no longer part of the EU, they're looking for partners. And it would make sense. I mean, we share the same language. We, communication is easy. So we have Meghan and Harry. So,
and we share the same history for a large extent, right?
Yeah.
It's just different sides, but.
Yeah, but so anyway, it does make sense if you're looking to kind of set the table for future relations, and a pact would be good for both our countries, and throw Canada in there.
Well, Canada just goes along for the ride half the time. But Lou, Master Grant makes a good point. England's got to be looking to strengthen their alliances now because they're no longer in the EU.
Yeah, they need another trading partner of some sort. Maybe signing something with the U.S. in trade deals would strengthen the pound against the euro.
Do you take it as more than lip service, or do you think that there might be? I'm not saying this is solid. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, look, we're good, we're on our way. But do you think it's more than just posturing? Lou?
Possibility. Well, it remains to be seen. He's going to be over there. We'll see what comes of it in the next month.
Yeah,
I was looking over at high good-looking, what is that, honky over there.
Honky. That was a great name, by the way.
Visited the UK last summer, kissed American soil when I came back. So just a good place to visit, but not stay then.
Master Grant, you spent a fuck ton of time there. What do you think? Do you think there's anything that they can build on here, or do you think it's just posturing because there was a camera?
I think a little bit of both, actually. I think that definitely there's some posturing, some of the change on both sides. I definitely feel that I think it would be in all of our interests to look at forging some type of trade deals together.
I agree.
Like I said, it's they're out of the EU now. Good opportunity to strike a deal.
Yep.
So I think it would. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
Well, okay, then let me ask you this. Do you take any comfort in it being Boris and Biden, or Boris and Trump?
Well, Boris is great. Okay.
Well, he's a piece of work.
He is something else.
He is a piece of work.
I think that it's it's really hard to say. I really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It would, like I said, it would be nice if we were approaching each other from a trade agreement type of, but who knows?
Who knows?
I think this could just be a wine and dine event and nothing more.
I think Boris at least can count his balls and get the same number twice.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 chances, right?
2 out of 3, maybe not every time, but more than Trump.
I will tell you this. I feel far more confident. I don't have a whole lot of stock in Boris at all. I really think this is a guy who is punching way beyond his weight class. I really do. I do have a little bit of confidence, and it makes me feel a little bit better that it's Biden on the other side, because if it was Trump on the other side, I would have thought that I would have felt that Boris was the one we're following, right? Where now I kind of feel like it's Biden that we're following, and that gives me a lot of credit. It gives me a little bit more confidence in it. Not because it's an American versus a Great Britain or anything like that, just based on the character of the people. I have a little bit more faith in Biden. Well, I have a lot more faith in Biden than I did in Trump. And Boris is just, well, he's the constant, right? But what can I tell you? He's the constant.
I'm gonna say though, I would feel in these type of things, like we're talking, business deals and all. I actually like. I think Trump would be fine going in there to get things started. In fact, I think that I would have a lot of confidence in him in kicking the ball, getting the things rolling. Where I would kind of lack confidence is him following up, needing to follow up or have a plan following up. I think that there would be probably great ideas and whatnot. But with Biden, on the other hand, here I don't see someone who is a mover and a shaker in a sense like Trump would be. But Biden, on the other hand, is a planner, a thinker, politician. He's got the organizational skills. So if they are talking something, I have a lot of confidence that we would actually see in 6 months' time. We would actually see some fruits from that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Lou. A simple mind gets bored easily, right? And I think that Trump would lose interest in this really, really quickly. And then you have Boris Johnson trying to hold the bag, which is never a good thing. At least this way, I think, and kind of piggybacking on what Master Grant said, you have somebody in there who's, okay, we made a deal, now we're going to fulfill our end of the agreement. Or at least continue this whole thing. And that gives me a lot more confidence. Now, I don't know what they agreed on and what the specifics are, but just the fact that you have somebody in there who, at least on our side, is willing to see this thing through, gives me a lot more confidence than somebody who tomorrow could be like, you know what, I just don't want to do this anymore and just walk away.
Now, he proved that through the whole administration.
Yeah, for the whole 4 years. Right? Oh, hey, and just to like I said, we're getting close to the end, so we're kind of jumping around a little bit. Guess who's back on CNN? Jeffrey Toobin. He's back, dude. After he kind of let it, let's just say he let it all hang out.
I was just going to ask you if that was the guy.
Yeah, let's just say he kind of did leave anything to the imagination. He's back on CNN. Let's hope they worked out all the kinks, Master Grant. What do you think? I want to say he's been how long? About 6 months? Last October. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. All right, 7 months. I was close. People with the matter said that Tubman exposed himself when he began masturbating during the Zoom call that he was on. Apparently, as part of a different video call, he just didn't switch off. You think he learned his lesson, Lou?
Well, maybe he took lessons on making sure he's on the right feed at the right time.
I don't know about you, Master Grant, but I gotta, like, whenever my camera's on, it kind of glows blue. Right? So I just gotta look, and I can tell if my camera's on or not.
Well, maybe he was watching Carlson Tucker. We don't know.
Well, you know what? Good point.
Geez, I wonder if those two. Wonder if they'll make a state anything about Jill Biden's coat today, because the people are saying she wore it to throw shade at Melania.
Wasn't that the one that? Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna ask both of you a pretty simple question. So what if she did?
Good for her. I'm glad.
So what if she did?
Well, you know, it's cancel culture and insults unless it's done by the GOP.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's disrespectful. It's unless the GOP's doing it, and then it's like make the snowflakes cry.
Then it's fine. Right.
Then it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, do you really care if that's what she did? Do I honestly think she gave it that much thought? No, I really don't think she gave it that much thought. But let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that for 20 minutes out of one day of her life, she decided she was going to jump into the gutter and go there. So what? Does it really matter? Lou?
Nah, not really.
Master Grant?
I think somebody's got way too much time on their hands.
I think there's a whole lot of, again, I said it before and I'll say it again. There's a whole lot of, what do you call it? Projection that has always been on the right. And I want to say for the last 6 years that they continue to do this shit over and over and over again. It's nothing but projection. Because honestly, I don't think people who are progressive, I really don't think they give a shit about stuff like this. I really don't think it even enters their mind.
No, and that's been proven how many times when they think we're gonna own the libs, and you look at it and say, "Yeah, we know you're an asshole. You don't have to prove the point. Like we don't give a shit."
Yeah, we're not going to double down on this. We know you're an asshole, and you know the problem with the libs is they expect everybody else around them to recognize that you're an asshole. Right, which Master Grant seems to be the problem with the left is they tend to think that people think the same way they do. You're giving people far too much credit. I'm sorry, you are.
I've said that the last 30 years. The problem with the Democratic Party, they overestimate the intelligence of the American voter.
Yeah,
Constantly.
And the Republicans, to their credit, underestimate it. Because now they're hitting the lowest common denominator.
You keep going lower and lower and lower.
Right.
Christ, Trump proved the bar is not even high. It's fucking underground.
And as long as you can continue to dig the hole, Master Grant, you never hit rock bottom. Right? You never do. Because you're determining where the bottom of the hole is. So you just keep going lower and lower and lower. I'll be honest, it's brilliant. I hate it, but it's brilliant. Whoever decided You know the old saying, right? Whenever you're digging yourself a hole, at some point you got to stop digging or something like that. Wasn't a Republican.
Yeah. You never hit bottom if you don't stop digging.
Right, you never hit bottom. Great place to end tonight, guys. Great place to end tonight. I say we call it a show. It was a great show, guys. It was a great show tonight. Can you imagine how good this would be if we actually decided what we were going to talk about ahead of time? If we actually choreographed anything, it'd be awesome. But take away from the charm, though. For everybody watching, thank you so very much. We really appreciate your time. We will be back tomorrow. At least two of us will. Same bad time, same bad channel. Lou, you'll be leaving us early tomorrow? Or are you going to be on at all?
I won't be on at all. By this time tomorrow, I hope to be in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember your timeline. Master Grant, it might just be you and me tomorrow.
I'm going to be, unfortunately, I'm traveling tomorrow.
Holy shit. You know what, guys? We're canceling tomorrow.
Which way you travel? Am I going to wave at you coming by or what?
I'm flying. Are you flying?
No.
Doesn't
Okay.
mean you can't look up.
Yeah. If you see a Legionnaire, just
We will be back next week. Okay. Same bad time, same bad channel.
yeah. Next week is no problems at all. Next
All
week
right, we will be back next Thursday.
day.
We will be back next Thursday. Same bad time, same bad channel. Okay, folks. Until then, if we like to say goodbye, good luck, and God bless. We'll see everybody next Thursday. All right.